As Dr. Howerton was doing my psychological checkup, a taste of mint lingered on my tongue. Since young, I remembered people by their voices. How the voice tasted, exactly. I had no answer why your voice had to be orange-flavored or cinnamon. Nevertheless, they were all pleasant ones. Coincidentally, everyone in my house was coffee. I was espresso, Mom was latte, Lily was Arabica. Sadly, the only way I got to hear them was through videos. I was a baby when my father murdered them. The only thing I remembered was the taste of rotten flesh from the voice of the killer. The voice I disdained. I never saw his face. Layla, your research of him, it's becoming an obsession. The mint intensified. The public believed Dad was dead. Disagreed. I sweared he was out there, ready to strike again, soon. Because last week, the rotten taste came back. It gave me goosebumps. I was in a town festival, his voice hidden somewhere in the crowd. Every night, I sneaked into an abandoned house on the Cedar Street, the killer's favorite spot. My hands gripped tight on a bat, and today, I caught something in the corner of my eye. A tall figure with a large hat. Shit. Did he notice me? I slided through a broken door, peeked out. He was huge. I wasn't so sure even my pepper spray would do anything. I could hear a muffled voice from the second floor. Raisins. Mrs. Reynolds from the pharmacy? I could get to her first. Front door creaked. I sprinted up to her room. Mrs. Reynolds, I'm here to save. I was stunned. Mrs. Reynolds was there, tied, but wasn't alone. A masked man with a machete. Tears was brimming in my eyes. The taste of his laugh made me want to cut off my tongue. I heard steps also coming up from downstairs. The machete man tromped towards me, each person from both sides. I swung my bat with all the strength. He grabbed my arms. I yelled, sprayed his eyes, and was released from his grip. He screeched and rubbed his face under the mask. A voice changer fell down. You, little brat. His real voice was not a rotten flesh, but a fresh mint. Floored, the psychotic psychologist launched himself to slice my throat. Ah! My eyes shut. Then bang! I was deafened. The killer was shot. The hatted figure came in. He was a middle-aged cop. I assumed he mouthed, "Are you okay?" The killer was lurking so close all this time. I got it all wrong. Mrs. Reynolds was escorted to the police car. My ears were still ringing, so we communicated with papers. Apparently, his family was killed too. Poor man. He just moved back here. He mumbled something. I saw tears, fists clenched. As my ears cleared up, I began to make out his words. If I was more brave back then. My eyes widened, stood still, because when I heard his voice, it was Americano. I have been given the fastest car in the world to ride in the race. I was happy because I knew now that I could win the race for sure and win back my family. I was forced into this race when a group of hooded people broke into my home and rounded up my family and told me that if I don't race, then they will kill my family. I am a racing car driver, and I enjoy driving fast cars and being in the race. The people I will be racing against are literally amateurs, and with the fastest car in the world, I knew I was going to beat them. If I went to the authorities, then the men that have my family will kill my family. So I had to race. And it was in some area where only known big world criminals would be watching. There were even a few politicians watching. It was the black market for racing cars, and I was going to win. This racing track was specifically built privately away from the eyes of the authorities, and they had me, a professional racing car driver, to join in the race. I had the fastest car in the world, and I knew I was going to win. I looked at the other cars, and they were nowhere near as fast as mine. My family were safe, and I knew everything was going to be okay. As the race started, I revved my engine and off I went. Then everything went black and blurry, and I thought that I had crashed. I was only worried about my family, and then I was back and I had made it across the line. I was so happy. Then I realized that the racing track was completely empty and derelict. I was so confused, and in the middle of the racetrack, I saw 4 gravestones, and there was an old man giving flowers to them. I went up to the old man, and he said, "You didn't win the race." And on the gravestones, it had the names of my family. I was still confused. The old man showed me the video clip of the race. When I drove my car at a high speed, it went too fast. Before it went over the finishing line, it disappeared. It not only disappeared, but it went to the future, and the old man told me that my family had been murdered. I asked it who the old man was, and the old man said it was me.
It was Black Friday, the day of irresistible deals and crowded stores. But I was drawn to the one place that defied the norm, an abandoned mall on the outskirts of town. It stood desolate, a relic of bustling days long gone. Rumors swirled about the mall. They said it was cursed, haunted by the spirits of trampled shoppers from a Black Friday long past. I laughed at these tales. Ghost stories were for kids, not for a bargain hunter like me. The mall's entrance creaked ominously as I pushed through. Inside, darkness clung to every corner, disturbed only by the feeble beam of my flashlight. I stepped into the atrium, the silence broken by my echoing footsteps. The air was cold, stale, untouched by time. Sale signs, faded and peeling, hung limply from the stores. Their promises of deals and discounts felt like whispers from another era. I wandered deeper, drawn by the thrill of exploring this forgotten temple of consumerism. As I passed an old toy store, a faint sound caught my attention. It was a giggle, soft, childlike. My heart raced. There was no one else here. Or was there? I shook off the fear, attributing the sound to my imagination. I continued, my curiosity leading me to what once was an electronics store. Its shelves were bare, but in the center lay a single, dusty television set. It flickered to life as I approached. The screen showed the mall, vibrant and alive, filled with people. But their faces were twisted in horror, running from something unseen. I felt a chill run down my spine. This was impossible. Suddenly, the screen switched to a live feed of me, standing in the store. A voice, distorted and chilling, whispered from the TV, "Join us." I turned, ready to flee, but stopped dead in my tracks. The mall was no longer empty. Figures stood in the shadows, their eyes hollow, their mouths gaping. They whispered in unison, "Join us!" In panic, I ran, their whispers chasing me through the dark corridors. I burst out of the mall, gasping for air, the night suddenly feeling warmer, safer. But the horror wasn't over. My phone vibrated. A notification for a Black Friday sale at the abandoned mall. The image attached showed the crowd inside, and there, among the twisted faces, was mine, eyes hollow, mouth agape. I looked back at the mall. It was silent, dark, abandoned. But I knew better. I was part of it now, part of the Black Friday that never ends.